In 2022, Ontario broke ground on nearly 15,000 new purpose-built rentals, 7.5% increase from 2021, and the highest number on record.
Where? Ontario?
Ontario, yeah. Because you keep telling me that purpose-built rentals aren't being built. This is a 7.5% increase. Explain your sources, Darryl.
I don't care if there's stupid purpose-built rentals being built in Peterborough and Kingston. Like, where are they? Okay, because we need them in Toronto. We don't need them in fucking Peterborough. Maybe we do. We need them everywhere. But where we actually need them, we don't need affordable housing in Guelph. I mean, I guess we do now. You see that? There's somebody sold a house for 1.65 million in Guelph.
Ouch.
Anyways, that's wonderful, TK, that they broke ground on 15,000 units. Now, breaking ground and having them on the market, do you know what? There's a giant gap there depending on the size of the building, right? And whether or not the builder goes bankrupt now while building this thing with all their giant amount of equity sitting in that thing and rates going up.
What would it take? So let me. I'm going to kind of quiz you today a little bit. Let's try to get into the.
Oh, don't ask me about purpose-built rental. Let's just try.
Let's just try to do a quick little, session today on this. So if someone were to build a purpose-built rental, okay,
yeah.
So you got a piece of land, okay. You paid $20 million for the piece of land. It's in Toronto somewhere. It's a decent site. You can put up.
It'd be real decent.
It'd be real decent.
It has to be pretty decent for it to like. Just at 20 million bucks. Now you build the thing. It's like, how is the rent going to make any goddamn sense?
But let me just crunch some numbers here quick.
Yeah.
So you can build a 200,000 square foot building. Bigger than that.
500,000. Take notes here?
No. 500,000 square foot building.
Okay.
500,000 square foot building.
Okay.
Now, that would cost you what to build approximately? Like $400, $500, $600 a square foot? Like what would you be using to build on that?
What would I be using?
What would normally like someone?
You'd probably be like 425, 450 for hard costs.
Hard costs. So 500 is safe to use as like a total package.
No, your hard costs are going to be like, I don't know. Depends on the size of the project and the duration and your interest rates and all kinds of shit.
Is it safe to say that you could say
you're like $1,000, 900 to 1,200, depending on where you are with land and everything.
Okay, so then it would be safe to say that $500 million would be the cost to be able to put that site together, to build that building, give or take, depending on the square footage.
Sure. I forget what other numbers you threw in. 500,000 square feet, is that what you said?
Yeah. So $1,000 a square foot, easy numbers, 500,000 square feet. It costs you 500 million. In order to build, I'm just trying to get this answer right here. How much equity do you think you'd have to have in that project?
Oh, that question you could ask me from it's 35% on a purpose-built rental for sure.
Okay, so you're looking at like $175 million. You need to have cash equity to build that building that costs $500 million.
Yeah.
No loans.
Instead
that's your money. Like that's the amount of equity you've got in that.
Well, the general partner has to have that kind of money in the deal, right?
So not a lot of guys have that kind of money.
A lot of guys have that kind of money.
A lot of guys building.
But do they want to use it on this?
Don't have that kind of money. Yeah.
Do they want to use it on this now in this city or country, right?
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
And are construction costs going to be that much different in Guelph or Peterborough or anywhere else that they're building?
I don't know. I can't imagine why they would be. I mean, now I would think it'd be harder to get trades out there because there's such a demand closer to Toronto. But
so it's safe to say it's not much cheaper to build out there.
Can't be, no.
So even if someone wanted to build a little tiny building in Peterborough, they would still, even if they do half the size, 250 million, right? You'd still be at, $90 million of equity that you need to have just to be able to build that building.
This is the thing. And this is why. And so for a condo, for example, I mean, you could probably get away with 10, 12% equity to go ahead and get the construction financing. Right. And then that equity, some of it can be from pre-sales, from the deposits, right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting in and of itself. Probably another layer of the problem, but
so this becomes the issue.
It's hard to decide. Well, it's not hard to decide to which way to go. I mean, unless so if you're building a new building, I don't even know how they figure out like the rent turnover and what the increases are going to be over time. But like you have to have some kind of a formula over 30, 40, 50 years to make it make sense. Because I mean, if you can, how much does it cost to buy a existing unit today in a rental building? Right? Like
300,000 for something that's older,
300,
500,000 for newer.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but it's way more to build a new one and own it. So it's like, I just don't understand how people do it unless it's like big pension fund REIT kind of money. Or like I said before, like you take a company like Ryokan, who bought a strip mall, right? And has owned and operated it for 20 years or 30 years or 15 years or whatever. And they were smart enough to put them near future transit or able to bring future transit towards their project. And now all of a sudden they're redeveloping them into rental buildings because they own the land already.
Yeah.
Right. And so now that instead of having a retail strip mall, they'll have a retail strip mall with a couple of towers on top of it.